Booyah, Graham.
Woo! Booyah!
Fire, Murph, fire.
We're gonna start in like 5, 6, 7 minutes, but I want to explain the whole Murph and how it came about. And I'm gonna actually read the Medal of Honor citation that George Bush read when he actually received the Medal of Honor. So I think that's really important for us to understand the context of, the workout and what it means. And then I want to explain something about like what it means to be a teammate, a good teammate. Because we're going to do this as a team. This is going to be a team evolution as opposed to an individual thing. So I want to talk about that. But first off, so Lieutenant Michael Murphy was a Navy SEAL, and he was in a combat mission out in Afghanistan, I believe. And the mission went wrong. It went south. He did something to sacrifice his life for the sake of his team, and for that he received the Medal of Honor. So what I want to do is I want to read the actual citation that George Bush read. So here we go. So, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity of, at the risk of his life, above and beyond the call of duty, as the leader of a special reconnaissance element with Naval Special Warfare Task Unit, Afghanistan, on 27 and 28 June 2005. While leading a mission to locate a high-level anti-coalition militia leader, Lieutenant Murphy demonstrated extraordinary heroism in the face of grave danger in the vicinity of Asadabad, Konar Province, Afghanistan. On the 28th of June 2005, operating in an extremely rugged, enemy-controlled area, Lieutenant Murphy's team was discovered by anti-coalition militia sympathizers who revealed their position to Taliban. As a result, between 30 to 40 enemy fighters besieged this 4-member team. Demonstrating exceptional resolve, Lieutenant Murphy valiantly led his men in engaging the large enemy force. The ensuing fierce firefight resulted in numerous enemy casualties, as well as the wounding of all 4 members of the team. Ignoring his own wounds and demonstrating exceptional composure, Lieutenant Murphy continued to lead and encourage his men. While the primary communicator fell mortally wounded, Lieutenant Murphy repeatedly attempted to call for assistance for his teammates. Realizing the impossibility of communicating in the extreme terrain and in the face of almost certain death, he fought his way into open terrain to gain a better position to transmit a call. Finally achieving contact with his headquarters, Lieutenant Murphy maintained his composure and his position while he provided his location and requested immediate support for his team. In his final act of bravery, he continued to engage the enemy until he was mortally wounded, gallantly giving his life for his country and for the cause of freedom. By his selfless leadership, courageous actions, and extraordinary devotion to duty, Lieutenant Murphy reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Signed, George W. Bush. And I could talk for hours about it. We don't have a lot of time to go through it, right? But it's been an individual journey, but it hasn't. I've had a team help me along the way. There's people that have supported me through this. My wife has. My family has. My business partners. There's just a lot of people that have supported me through it. So I want to talk about the importance of being a good teammate and what that means. There's 3 things that really, come to mind when I think of a good teammate. And the number one thing I think of when I'm on a team is, I want to be trustworthy. I want to be able to trust the man and the woman next to me to do their job. And trust really comes down to 3 different things. One of them is competency. You have to be able to trust that your teammate is going to be able to do their job, and they know what they're doing. And a lot of that comes down to your skill level and training. How serious do you take training? How serious do you take your job? So the competency piece is big. The next one is character. Are you a trustworthy person? What are your values set? Are you integral? What comes out of your mouth, does it follow up with action? Are your words and your actions integral? That's really, really important, because on a team, you have to trust that your teammates are going to do what they say they're going to do and follow through. That's extremely important. And then the next one is common goals, working towards a common thing. I've worked in businesses where we weren't working towards the same objective and things fell apart. So when you're working in business or on a team, having that same common goal and keeping that in mind while you're working really gels the team together, even when there is a conflict, because you're working towards the same common thing. Good. You can work things out. So the toughest thing, you can overcome the competency. You can always train people. You can always increase your skill levels to make sure people are doing their jobs and they have the ability to do it. You can always reset goals and realign people. But the tough thing is the values piece, the character, being integral. That's up to the individual to be able to deliver on what they promise. So that's super important. So that's one component of being a good teammate. The next one, and I've learned this from Mark. Mark has talked about being ready to lead and being ready to follow. As a teammate, there's times where you need to step up and take the lead, and then there's times when you're normally used to leading, you need to fall back and be a good follower. Being a good follower actually allows you to become a better leader. And so, Mark, you've talked about that in your organization, Seal Fit, and it's helped me tremendously in business. And then the next one is the will to live. Being a good teammate. What are you willing to sacrifice to get the job done? And so, oftentimes I would think about, this quote, one day, one lifetime. It's living one day at a time. And if you were to live an entire lifetime in a day, what does that day look like? And so I approach each workout and each training with that same thing. So we have this mindset when we approach this workout today, it's your will to live. How well are you going to do this workout? If this is the only thing you had left in your life, how well would you do it? What effort would you put into it? How would you experience it? The excellence, the reps, that kind of stuff. So that's really what it comes down to. So with that in mind, I say we get started. And I want this to be a team evolution. We work together as a team. So, we run together as a team. We get our work done together as a team. And then we get out the door on the last mile as a team. And we walk through this door as a team. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Sound good? All right, let's do it. Cool. So the Murph workout consists of a mile run in the very beginning, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and a mile run at the very end, wearing a 20-pound pack. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can do it all the way through, meaning you can do the mile run, then 100 pull-ups, and then immediately move to 200 consecutive push-ups, then 300 consecutive air squats and a mile run. Or you can break it up into 20 different sets or 10 different sets. The way that I've been doing it this whole time is 20 different sets. 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, 20 times. So it's a lot to keep track of. So I've been actually keeping track of it on my phone when I do it. But this is essentially the Murph. You can do it a couple different ways. You can also do it without a vest, which is what we call slick. So you can do it slick, or you can do it RX, which would be with the vest itself. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with it. I think that's it.
Workout, dude.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So
This is brutal.
I mean, the things that I've experienced, I experienced like a lot of soreness and tenderness right here in these, this joint, This tendon right here gets super sore. I've gotten, you know, a lot of soreness in my neck. I had like, you could feel discs start to like separate or come, you know, get all funky in your back, you know. And so a lot of times, like, you know, having a good chiropractor, you know, a good mobility coach like helps with
Are you
all
doing
that
anything
kind of stuff.
else like in between, like to recover better, faster? You cryo? You doing anything?
No cryo, chiropractor and mobility.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Dang, dude.
Yeah,
No
and just
sauna,
and like
nothing, huh?
eating, like just eating really well, you know, like eating well.
I like walk a mile on the treadmill and I'm like right in the sauna. I'm like, I gotta like.
Or like
Every day for 365 days.
yeah,
That's what I'm trying to do.
That's right. And then like I do like a hot bath.
Really?
Yeah, like
no,
as hot as the
no
water
ice
gets.
plunges or anything like that.
I'll jump in the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Which in California, that's pretty cold.
yeah, it's cold. So I'll go run. So some days I feel like my body just wants more work. So I'll go run an extra 3 or 4 miles and then jump in the ocean and swim around a bit. And that water's cold enough, it helps with the joints. So
I like it.
yeah,
Let's do it, dude.
yeah.
You're doing it too?
Just gonna run the mile.
So the mile, we're gonna head out here, turn left on the road, which is Avenida de Citas. We're just gonna go up the road until you see my chalk bucket, turn around and come back.
Yeah.
Chalk bucket is roughly at half a mile.
feel?
Feel great.
Yeah?
Feel great. Yeah, it's a great accomplishment.
I'm in like pain for you right now. Like just watching you guys do this, like this looks painful.
Yeah, it's normal. I mean, you do something every day, it just becomes normal. So think about all the things you do daily, no matter what. What are they?
I go to the gym now, but that just started after I heard you speak at
a lot of them are just natural things that you do. Like you eat every day, you drink every day, right? You do these things every day, and those are just things that you need for your body. Well, this has become something that I forced, and now it's become a habit, and now my body's just used to it.
And so what are you gonna do now? What do you do tomorrow? Like you've done this now 365 days in a row.
Yeah.
What's the plan for tomorrow?
It's a great question. So I think what happens on day 366 is just as important as any other day.
Okay.
So tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and do more.
Are you really?
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a mentality that you have, there's a championship mindset that you have. So think about, we just witnessed this a few weeks ago with the Super Bowl.
I'm like tearing up.
What do you think Tom Brady did the next day after the Super Bowl?
Well, I know what he did, but
Yeah.
it was all over.
Yeah.
He threw the Lombardi Trophy at Gronk.
That's right. Yeah. But there's a championship mindset, and so for me, it's become habit, and I'm going to continue to do it one more time. And then what I'll do is I'll take the habits that have been built, and I'll channel it into other things. Whatever I feel is the highest value target for my life is what I'll channel that habit into.
Bro, you're an inspiration. Just straight up. Just to take what you're doing, develop this thing. I mean, I don't even know what brought you to this point, but at the same time, like doing a Murph for 365 days straight, this is one of the most intense workouts I've ever seen anyone do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're able to do this just shows like what you're actually made of.
Yeah.
You have the tenacity, like you're gonna be successful no matter what you do.
Yeah, well, and the thing that I think people need to know is that we all have that inside of us.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, is this something that you developed, or did you have this?
This is something I developed because when I started, I wasn't in peak shape when I started. This was something that basically my body forged into. It was just the first day was terrible, the second day was terrible, the third day was terrible, and the first 21 to 30 days were just brutal. But then there comes a point where your body adapts. Like you can ask my wife, like there were nights where I couldn't sleep because it just hurt so bad. Like my body was inflamed, and I'm just like, my body's inflamed, I can't sleep. And she's like, what's wrong, And so I'd have to 2 o'clock in the morning go sit in the bathtub, to kind of get the inflammation so I could sleep. And so you work through all that, and eventually your body adapts and knows that it doesn't have a choice. Because eventually you beat your body into submission, and it starts to, and in a brutal way, like it's true, because then when your body knows it doesn't have a choice, it'll figure out a way to adapt to whatever you put it through. And then, you have all these little injuries that pop up. Well, you'll work through those injuries no matter what happens. I had shin splints, stress fracture in my foot, tendonitis in my elbows. There were days where I couldn't open up a jar. I had to have Sarah help me with things because...
But through all that, you're not thinking, I got to stop doing this. This is killing my body.
No, it's just, I'm just going to keep going because it was what I committed to.
Amazing.
And so it's the discipline of following through with what you say you're going to do. And what happens is that builds the confidence to be able to deliver on promises that you make to other people, because it all starts within first. That's where everything starts, is in your mind and in your heart. And so then whatever's in your heart and what you believe ultimately determines what you think and how you view the world. And what you think and how you view the world actually determines like what you speak, and what you speak determines your actions.
This is fascinating. Like everything that's going on here, and you're kind of the brains behind SealFit, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your organization. How much of an influence did he have on you doing this?
Well, I first heard of SealFit 6 years ago. It was an Outside Magazine article, and it said it was on the cover of Outside Magazine, and it said world's toughest training program. And at that point in my life, I was looking to make a change because I was into, alcoholism, and, our marriage was on the rocks and things weren't going great. So I was looking for some sort of a change, and I had to make a change. And so I saw that and was like, that looks like a good opportunity to, transform.
You're like, my marriage is going to suffer. I should go work out.
I should go work out.
I might as well suffer myself.
So
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, this all just makes sense, right?
So I read the article, but the article was a lot about it's the world's toughest training program, but it was a lot around transformation and the things that happened through that training. And so I signed up for one of the courses, failed miserably, which, the courses, I think, you get what you need out of the course, depending upon where you're at in your life.
There's no failure in those.
Yeah, there's no failure. So I didn't complete the course the first time around, which is what I needed, because it was I was very much very prideful, huge ego, and that's what needed to be broken. And so through that program, my ego was broken off, and I was actually the second time around is where everything excelled and the transformation happened. And that's where I felt the most authentic and real as a man and as a person, and I truly saw my identity. And so that started this whole wave of transformation. And so he didn't directly influence this, but he had an influence through
this journey.
Transformation is a solo thing, but it requires some input, right, from mentors and structure, which we call a path. So in a sense, SEALFIT is a path to transformation. And you were inspired to that path through your hardship, right?
Yeah.
Hitting the bottom, pretty much.
Yeah.
A lot of people are inspired that way. Others are inspired because they have a vision for something different in their life, like to be a SEAL. And that's why I started the program, to help SEALs achieve, or SEAL aspirants to achieve that vision, which is the hardest thing to do in the world, physically and mentally. And so SEALFIT, it was not a fitness program, even though fit is in the word, right? You didn't ever look at that as a fitness program.
No, it wasn't something I did.
You got to train for it, you got to move your body, you've got to be eminently physically capable, but it has very little to do with fitness. It's about character. And you said it really well. It's about getting into that place that says, there's no quit in here, right? There's no quit in the heart. We call that the courage wolf. Courage means heart, actually.
Yeah.
To act with heart. Core means heart in French. And fear is up here. So when we're stuck in our head, that's ego. And you get stuck in these loops, we call the fear loops. And then we live those obsessively. Fear becomes a habit. Negativity becomes a habit. And then that shows up in addictive behavior, shows up in self-abuse, low self-esteem, low self-talk, and all that just weakens you until you literally, you have no energy, and then the way you behave kind of follows that. And the way you just described, the whole trail of heart to thought to speech to action to habit equals destiny. And so if you're not connected to your heart and you're full of fear, and your words are fear-based and biting and negative, your actions are going to be weak, and your destiny is going to be full of suffering. But you can take responsibility to turn that around by connecting to your heart, recognizing the goodness inside, and then committing to something like 365 days of Murph. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be just 365 days of waking up every morning and being grateful. Right? Have the same transformative effect. Because now you're connecting to your heart, and then that's going to feed courage, which is going to eradicate that fear.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're going to start thinking better. You're going to start talking to yourself more positively. And then your actions will flow from there, and they'll be more positive. And then your destiny will be one of less and less suffering, and then finally you break through and you find peace of mind. And so, cool thing is, you can do all that. That's like a path of transformation. You can use hard physical training as a path of transformation, just like you can use meditation or yoga or just service, like Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's many different paths, and it really depends upon your character.
Yeah.
Like you're a physical guy, I'm a physical guy, so our path includes swinging kettlebells and doing Murph, right?
Yeah.
My path I wouldn't do well just handing out hugs and kisses in Calcutta, you know what I mean? Like Mother Teresa or the kissing saint.
I could do that, but
Exactly.
Well, what's funny is we were having a conversation a couple nights ago, and contractors, specifically roofing contractors, kind of beat themselves up a lot.
Yeah.
And if you look at in the entire economy as a whole right now, in 2020, 2021, right now, in this moment, some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the nation that have had amazing growth over the last 12 to 18 months have been contractors. They're the ones buying the Lambos. They're the ones doing all this stuff. They're the ones that have made it in some ways through entrepreneurship and opportunity that doesn't exist in virtually almost any other industry right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, restaurants are failing right now. Everything else is going to crap. But yet we're like in this little bubble where we're experiencing success. But with that success comes responsibility. But the problem right now is we've been beat up so bad as an industry that we don't have that confidence or that understanding that we're actually achieving something.
Right.
Like we're actually not. We beat our, like we hear people speak, they talk, and they're like, man, I don't know why I'm speaking on this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just some little contractor. I don't know. I don't deserve all this.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a responsibility that comes with ambition and the success that comes along with, being a business owner. Contractors, whether you're a contractor or in any industry, really, I think there's responsibility that comes with ambition. And, I may have mentioned this before, but there's like 4 different things that come to mind when I think about that responsibility. And number 1 is developing other leaders. Like we have a responsibility in our organizations to develop other leaders, whether that's the people in our organization and people outside the organization. So I think that's 1. And then number 2, it's creating other opportunity for other people. So I think contractors as a whole, it's important to get their business in order and create the systems in their business so that they can continue to thrive. And what happens when they thrive is that their doors stay open longer, they can create more opportunity for people down the road. That's important. Then creating wealth is something that a lot of people don't talk about. As you the responsibility of ambition is to create wealth because you can do a lot with that for charitable causes. With wealth comes influence, and it's either a good influence or a bad influence. When we want that to be a good influence, that's a responsibility that we have to give back, and that's where the generosity comes in. That's the 4th thing that comes in mind. So it really comes down to creating more opportunity, developing other leaders, creating wealth, and being generous and having that generous.
And you've mastered this in a really unique way that most contractors haven't. How much of that do you attribute to doing things like the Murph, the 365, like building these habits, all that kind of stuff?
Well, the habits really just helps you with the mindset and just keeps you dialed in.
Because it's about everything. Once your mindset's right now, you can take that same mindset and apply it to every part of your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the next thing could be, I could apply this to music, things that are outside of my comfort zone. That's how Sarah and I first met, was actually in high school choir. And people wouldn't know, like, oh, he sings. I'm like, yeah, I sing, but I haven't really exercised that muscle for years until recent. And so now I can take the habits that I've built daily and put it towards something different. Whatever I feel is the highest value target.
Yeah, that's so cool. You guys are awesome. How do you if you're a contractor, how do you go about finding someone like Mark in your life?
Well, I mean, with Mark, you can look up unbeatablemind.com. You've written how many books now?
I'm on my 6th.
He's on his 6th
Congrats,
book.
man. That's amazing.
So Unbeatable Mind was the one, there's that one, and then there's The
Way of the Seal.
The Way of the Seal.
Staring Down the Wolf.
Staring Down the Wolf. And that's a recent one.
Yeah. 8 Weeks to Seal Fit.
8 Weeks to Seal Fit, yeah. So Unbeatable Mind is...
David Goggins to walk in here or something right now.
Yeah. God, he's out running 100 miles somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, so you can find Mark through unbeatablemind.com and then through sealfit.com and then however, through your social media channels.
I think having those voices is really important as we develop, as we become better, know. And I appreciate what you're doing for sure.
Thanks.
This is amazing. So
well,
I appreciate
it's amazing
this.
what Graham just accomplished.
Yeah.
I was comparing it, I was thinking a few years ago, Graham participated in this. We did 22 million burpees to raise awareness for vets.
Man.
So we do these crazy things. So I like when Graham told me, hey, I'm going to do 365 days of Murph, I'm like, yeah, that's good, man. And I thought, shit. Now I'm going to be thinking, should I do that? Should I do that? And then I thought, no, I just did 365 days of 300 burpees a day.
Yeah.
Actually, I did more. I did 130,000 burpees in 1 year. And in this path of
Yeah.
the community doing 22
Yeah.
million burpees. So I said, and you're probably thinking about this too. There are times in your life where you gear up and you do something like that.
Yeah.
But then you need to really back off
Yeah.
and rebalance.
Yeah.
Right? And then 3 or 4 years later, you're like, I think I need a big challenge like that again. So
Yeah.
I wasn't quite ready to join you this year.
That's right. Yeah, and you
There
guys
will
set
be
a-
another big challenge though coming up.
Yeah, and you guys set a record for the most burpees done in a day. What
Yeah,
was it
so
like?
it's an incredible video. We broke a world record for the most burpees in a 24-hour period
Yeah.
by a 6-person team, 3 men and 3 women. The interesting thing
Yeah.
is all of us were yoga teachers. We were all certified yoga teachers and SEAL fit athletes. Isn't that wild? That's the yin and the yang, the balance between the
Yeah.
hardcore. The reason we could go for 24 hours, if you watch the video, we were going as fast. Our pace at the end on hour 24 was as fast or faster than when we started 24 hours earlier.
Yeah.
And we had this amazing little disciplined plan, and we were just popping out burpees. So we did 36,393 burpees
Wow.
in 24 hours.
It was crazy. So I was I came in and counted and was there to watch for a couple hours, and you're just like, you're ticking, you're counting, and
Counting
you're just
was the hard part, actually.
You're just like watching, and you're just like, what in the like?
That's crazy.
Pretty intense.
Well, congrats, dude.
Thanks, man.
Congrats on this accomplishment, Mark. Pleasure to meet you, bro.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
honor. And Graham,
Cool, man.
always awesome to see you, bro.
Thanks.
I would love
Love you,
to.
dude. Thanks so much for watching today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe our pages so that you can stay up to date with every episode. And by the way, this show is all about you, the American Contractor. Be sure to comment and let us know what you want to hear about and what subjects you want us to touch on. We'll be sure to include them in a future episode. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.